Hello students, I'm so excited to be able to do lab 7.01 with you today. I'm excited. Let's get started. Woohoo! Can you sense my enthusiasm? In this project, you will create a water tank, create a sphere for water to pour around, turn a cube into a liquid. But first, let's take a quick sneak peek at what it is we are trying to create in this unit. Wow. Let us begin. Lab 1. In this lab, you'll use 2 cubes and a sphere to create a simulation of liquid pouring and splashing. Goals for the lesson: create position and shape 2 cubes and a sphere, create a fluid simulation with liquid that pours around a sphere inside a larger cube, and bake the simulation. The 3 shapes for this project: you'll be using 3 mesh shapes to create the fluid animation. Click the buttons to learn what each shape is for. The large shape: this cube will become a tank to hold the water. It needs to be large enough to hold all the liquid. Then we'll have a flattened cube. This cube will be turned into the liquid. Ooh, it's smaller and thinner than the large cube, so the liquid will all fit inside the large cube. And sphere. The sphere is an obstacle for the liquid to pour around. This makes the animation look more interesting. Positioning the cubes. When you open a new blank Blender file, there will automatically be 1 cube in the file already. Instead of using that cube, you'll delete it and create 2 new ones. Creating 2 new cubes in the same place is easier than trying to position the 2 cubes in the same location later. The cubes need to be in the same place so that the cube can turn into liquid. The cube you turn into liquid will automatically pour into the larger cube. You'll add and position the cubes next. All right, go ahead and open up Blender now. And you're just going to click out here. You've already got that cube selected. If it's not, just right click on it and hit X to delete it. And then click Delete X. Excellent. We're going to add 2 cubes in the same location that this pointer is in. Do you remember how to get the pointer to the center of the grid just in case it's somewhere else, like over here, for example? It's Shift S. Hold down Shift and click S. And then you can go cursor to center and it'll put it right in the center of the grid. Perfect. So let's go ahead and add the cubes. So I like to use this tools box here to do it, the tool shelf, and click on create. And then it has your meshes here and you can just go cube and then hit it again to create another one. So there should be 2 cubes there, but I'm not going to touch them. The other way to do it is to find where you have your add button and add mesh cube. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and save file, save as. Find where you keep your image design, or no, this is 3D animation. And let's see, I'm going to create a new folder and name that Unit 7 and hit enter. Well, I'm going to call it Fluid, Unit 7 Fluid. And then I will double click on that folder I created, and now it's showing me in the top line where it's saving it to, and now I just have to name it. So let's see, first and last name always, and you can say Unit 7 Fluid dot blend. You can do click Save as Blender file or hit enter twice. Perfect. We're going to reshape the cubes. So hit number 1 on your keypad and come to the front view. And then you're just going to make sure, I'm going to hit A and make sure I don't have both of them selected, and then just click, right click, and select one of them. And what we're going to do is, I think we want to go into a wireframe view. Do you know how to do that down here? It says the shortcut is Z. So if you've got, we were in solid view and we're going to change to wireframe view. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to open up the properties panel over here on the right. And we're going to scale. This is going to be our larger cube, and we're going to change the X, Y, and Z values to 6 each. So just hit 6, tab, 6, tab, 6, enter. And you can see that our cube's nice and large now, and I can actually use my scroller to zoom back. Now let's right click on the other cube that we placed there at the origin, and we're going to change the location of the X value to nope, not the X value, sorry, the Z value, because Z is going up and down, so we're gonna move it up. We're gonna move it up 4.5 and hit enter. So your Z value is 4.5, okay? Then we're going to scale the X and Z values and leave the Y at 1. So the X and Z are going to be 5.5, just under 6, like our larger cube, okay? And now that you've done that, you can kind of take a look at, just click and hold your middle mouse button and move around a little bit so you can see, there they are. It's looking good. Next, let's add our sphere. So I'm going to hit 1 again so that we're in front view. And I want to hit Shift and S so I can move my cursor back to the center, because it's going to place that sphere wherever my cursor is, right? So then you can go over here to your tools shelf and you can click on the Create tab and add your UV sphere this way. Or once again, you can always do it through the Add menu, Add Mesh, UV sphere. Let's scale it so that the X, Y, and Z values are 3. So type in 3, tab, 3, tab, 3, enter. Beautiful, good job. Simulation. A simulation is a mathematical model of a complex system, such as a cloud pattern or falling water. Blender has several built-in preset simulation types for creating things like cloth, fluid, and collisions between objects. It would be far too difficult to animate these simulation types by hand. You'll use the fluid simulation in this project to create a liquid. It will turn the smaller, flat cube into liquid. You'll only need to do this once. But first, a quiz. Which of these animations would a simulation be most helpful for? A flag blowing in the wind, a building with many windows, a robot with 2 arms, or a bouncing ball? The correct answer is A, a flag blowing in the wind. Okay, let's set up the simulation. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to right click on the skinny cube that's going to actually be our liquid, okay? And for now, I'm just going to hide the properties panel, and I'm going to widen my materials. If you don't have yours set up like mine, you've got areas over here. You can just click here and change the area on this to, actually, what is it? Properties. There you go. Properties is what I'm in, okay? So then over on the far right is the physics button. So click on the physics button and which of these simulations should we pick? How about fluid? There we go. And then down here is the type. So this is telling us what type of simulation this shape is going to take. And this is the shape that's going to act as the fluid. So we'll click fluid. Okay, and we have to create a simulation for each of those shapes. So the larger cube, if you right click on that, is going to hold it. So it is going to act as the domain. So click on fluid for that sphere, or that, sorry, cube, and select domain. okay? Because it's going to hold the fluid. And then the last thing is the sphere. The sphere is going to be the obstacle that that liquid is going to fall over. So click on fluid, and then the type will be obstacle. Did that make sense? I hope so. And let's go ahead and let's go file, save. Okay, save. The bake command. Because simulations are so complicated, they go through a special process called baking before they can be rendered. The bake command calculates a simulation and saves it as special files in a special bake folder on your computer. When you render the simulation, it uses the baked files instead of calculating them again. This speeds up the rendering process. Let's bake our simulation. But first, baking a simulation will speed up what process? Rendering, texturing, positioning, or reshaping? The correct answer is A, rendering. Okay, now let's do some baking. So, right-click on the larger cube, and then over here, under your physics button, it will have a bake button, and click bake. So apparently the baking takes a while, and I can see up here in the top it says that it's 5%, 6% done. So if you have a task that you could be doing, like reading your email right now, that would be good. Go ahead and pause this video while you bake. I'm back, and mine didn't take very long at all, no more than 2 minutes, so I didn't think it was too bad. And then to preview the animation, you're just going to hold down the Alt key and hit A. Whoops. And it should look like that. How fun. That looks great. And on the bottom of my screen, I can see I have a lot of slides, like 250 frames. So I can see that if we leave it at 250 frames, that's going to take a long time to render. So I'll probably end up stopping mine at about 100 when I go to render it. So you can just go ahead and press pause whenever you're ready. And we're just going to clean this up a little bit so that we're not seeing this other rectangle, cuboidal prism thing. Rectangular prism. There we go. We're just going to right click on that to select it and hit M, I believe, to move it to a new layer. And you're going to click that second box over to the right. Perfect. Now we don't see it. And just click File, Save to save your changes. Okay? All right, you just finished lab 1. In this lab, you created, positioned, and shaped 2 cubes and a sphere. You created a fluid simulation with liquid that pours around a sphere inside a large cube, and you baked the simulation. Good job.